Hi. Things have changed again, so I'm trying to just settle into this new format of the way that I'm viewing things on my end. Sorry, I always start these readings with that drab. It's just I like to be accountable for my energy. So, the title of this reading and this live stream is in those square brackets because I'm still sitting with the frequency of what's happening. And I think that that in itself is a theme for right now. When I was trying to also feel into more of that, more of what the theme is right now, I also got the Fool, and I saw a tweet coupled with this energy where this person said that the paraphrasing the magic or the specialness in the Aquarian age. Man, you see, I'm trying to find the words for real, and I'm struggling. According to my understanding, when I read it, it implied that the awakened version of Aquarian energy in some way embodies the Fool. And I did a little bit of research to see that along with I've forgotten what the one card is. The Fool is also ruled by Aquarius. There's another card in the deck that's ruled by Aquarius that I forgot. But anyway, that is very much the vibe of what I've been feeling into. And it's very, I think I've made it clear more than once on my lives that the Fool is one of my favorite cards in the deck, specifically in this deck that I use, which I haven't shown in a while, the Intuitive Tarot by Stella Conway. I really love the way that she drew the Fool's face and the facial expression, the way that the Fool on that card is like staring you down in the eye. It's a very taunting, naughty, to me, very nice feeling because of how daring, because of the naughtiness, because of the potential of what can be read of this facial expression. There's no telling. It's not leaning to a specific good or a specific bad. It's pretty unpredictable. His general vibe is unpredictable. He has 3 fingers, 3 crooked fingers. It's a really strange, strange vibed image. And this feels a lot like what's happening. I'm perceiving the umbrella vibrations of what we're experiencing right now being of this, the universe looking at us all like this. And to extend that thought, I also got the channeling of how incessantly we're being invited to believe in God, where it's as if God themselves is looking at us saying, how willing are you to believe in me? What are you willing to share about yourself? What do you think in your life you need to keep? Where do you think I am? When you look at life, where can you find me? You know, it's very, I keep saying incessant, but it's like it's big. The presence of God in all of our lives is very, very big. Alu, please turn down the volume. Hi, Jasmine. I'm not doing any personal readings on this live. It's a collective reading. Sorry, I didn't clarify in the title, but this won't be one of those. This isn't one of those where I'm pulling cards for individuals. But you can always reach out to me and DM me via my socials, and we can chat from there. I've forgotten what I was saying now. Oh, yes. The energy of God is very huge and present in our lives, even in the lives of those who would consider God and then maybe park it because you can't spend all day contemplating God. I'm too busy needing to find a way to survive, blah, blah, blah. People who've been in that mindset, even that bracket of people, are being forced to really turn to and face God fully for what their understanding of God is, all obviously linked to, I say the word obviously so often and I'd really like to cut that down, all linked to your experience of life. Your experience of God reflects your experience of life. Our general experience of life is changing. And again, it's been the same rhetoric for months now, where it's changing in order to form a path of divine alignment and joy in our living experiences, that of which we may have previously thought wasn't possible, but is and always has been. The frequency that you see successful people or celebrities who have achieved fame and all of the glory and gold and whatever, the frequency of that has never been that they're special and you're not special in that same way. That potential that they locked into and that anyone locks into when they achieve their successes is a matter of them, I believe. It's a matter of them having answered God enough times to say, I'm willing to do anything for this. The people who, and then obviously that in itself splits into two of people who are willing to do anything on the light path and people who are willing to do anything on the dark path. Those questions are constantly shown to us. Fear or love, fear or love. And it's reaching a point now, very slowly unfolding as an awakening process amongst us all, where this choice of fear and love is going to start sincerely reflecting itself in our living experiences. Hopefully you're feeling it on some kind of internal level, but very deep within. It's if you've done enough work trying to stay balanced, especially this year with how chaotic it's been, if you've really been focused on it, you should find now, it is now the end of September, but also whenever it is that you're watching this live, September 25, but whenever it is, timeless intention, you should be starting to find it a little bit easier to stay grounded, following your ritual work, following all of the daily things that you have found that keep you afloat. If you haven't found it, you need to. I believe that whether you like it or not, whether you can help it or not, something about your daily routine needs to start aligning to your intentions, to what you want to reflect, to the parts of your internal self that you want to reflect in your external world. Those things need to start urgently aligning. They're always trying to align, but it feels like now is very important because of the period of potential, of energetic potential we're in right now, where manifestation and all of that is getting really, really crazy. The veil is thin, da-da-da-da-da. I've also been gathering information just very almost subconsciously, like it's something that happens before me. Before I know it, I'm taking in information about a white hole and about comets and about the astronomy of the skies that we're under right now. And one of the things that I've posted about actually that has truly blown my mind and has made me feel totally differently about, firstly, the future, about the time that we're in. I've already felt the bigness of it, knowing this fact about this incoming space object that is hurling towards our solar system right now. Knowing about that has helped me. It's grounded the understanding that this universe is so much greater. The thing we know, that thing we've been trying to really settle into our psyches, this universe is much greater than we can imagine, that can be worded, and we're allowed to relax. We're really allowed to relax. There is a space object, as I'd mentioned, coming towards our solar system. I'll post the link of the video that I saw, which I recommend everybody watch so that they're aware at least of the conditions that we are in right now in terms of the universal influence or the universal focus that we are under right now. Something that I've seen repeated a lot and something that I'm sure we've all been grappling as a human consciousness is how important Earth is relative to the rest of the universe. This chat about this incoming space object and this video that I'm going to link that I recommend everyone watch supports that to me. Supports that understanding that we are a very important planet in the universe, it seems. We're very important, at least in this solar system. And the solar system itself is huge. So it's mind-blowing that this is happening and that it's incoming and it's going to change everything towards the end of the year. Well, we're in it, actually. It's happening. It's been happening. Anyway, space object coming towards us has its own kind of plasma. There's the object in the center and then it has a plasma around it. And that plasma itself is apparently 2 sizes of the Earth and it has a kind of charge that, a radiomagnetic charge that affects the systems around it, obviously, because it's electromagnetic. Please stop, baby. Please stop. Obviously, it affects the systems around it because it's electromagnetic. And it's already starting to influence us with how far it is and the way that it's angled. It's going to it apparently makes what is called a superior conjunction. And I'll link the astrology to how it affects. I'll link the video I've been watching regarding the astrology of how that's going to affect us. It makes a perfect conjunction between the sun and the earth. And mind you, it's 2 times bigger than the Earth. This has to be emphasized. This plasma radioelectric field around the space object that's hurling towards us right now, it's 2 times the Earth. So you can imagine that the influence that it has on us as one single Earth, one single size of the Earth, we're going to feel it. Everybody is going to feel this shift and this change. Everybody is going to feel energetically affected. I genuinely believe so. The person who discussed how this video will affect us, that I will link, describes the situation as what I believe every other major astrological event or comet or shift or whatever has done, where people witness it. And I guess this is just the stage that we're at right now. And I think it has to do with the split that's happening in humanity. The greater part of the collective notices it, shrugs their shoulders, claps, maybe, coos, whatever, and then goes on about their lives with the understanding that I can't focus on that. I have to survive. That's where everybody's attention is very naturally, and that's a crime because our souls are much bigger than this dead frequency of survival. But anyway, there's that collective, the greater collective, and then there's the other collective that's noticing the patterns, right? We're all noticing the patterns. Hey, we're all noticing the shifts, the waves, the changes in behavior. And by the way, I felt also called to re-emphasize, and I think I may feel called to do this every week, just to remind people of the times that we're in. I saw it as well from another reader who mentioned the rise in spiritual psychosis. I think we're all talking about it in the general psychosis amongst us. We have to keep an eye on that, and we have to keep an eye on it even within ourselves. You can trust you can trust. I think it's going to just start becoming more urgent to work with your energy and to find out how it feels when you are grounded. You don't have to even be like calm, maybe even during a freak out, a panic attack or whatever. We need to, it's so urgent to find that sense of internal bliss within. I think that internal bliss, that within, that because of how delicate these times are, that internal bliss within is pretty much our most reliable protection, so to speak, against any kind of like personal psychoses. If you see it amongst people in your community, then I think what can help that moment protect other people is just love. Just try to move from love through everything. If you pray for them, pray for love, pray through love, with love, you know what I mean? But within yourself, finding that sense of love is that sense of bliss and calm. Whatever they talk about when they convince you to meditate, which, by the way, is something I think you should be doing as well. Very important, even as like a random side quest. Please try to figure out how you meditate. Because I also know that meditating is generally, it's difficult for some. But it's something, the essence of that practice of meditation is something we all need to figure out how to master according to our own self. Master according to the self, not according to what is a master of meditation, not according to what this external information can give you. External informational world. Yeah, I think that's all actually. That is all. That's all I have. I mentioned all of those to mention what's been on my mind this week. To invite anyone, obviously. Oh, and sickness as well. Yes, that cough reminded me. This is an extension of what I said maybe like 4 or 5 readings ago about how, because of how shifty these times are, you can expect a lot of people to get sick. And it is also some kind of season of paying attention to your health in particular. I know that Virgo, we're leaving Virgo season. I think we're even out of it now, actually. But I know Virgo in the season that we were just in was big on health. And I think that that's not going to change. I think like the few readings ago that I'd mentioned then, it's going to start becoming more important to acknowledge the spiritual internal world connection with the physical. That is to say that anytime you find yourself ill, take a step back. Obviously, do your thing the way you handle your illness, but take a further step back to consider how you've been mentally before finding yourself ill. I think that will help a lot in understanding how to heal yourself. Make the link between the emotions that you were processing before you got ill and the kind of things that you can do to work on that emotion in particular. So if you were sad and stressed out before you got sick, then you can somewhat link this period of rest, not even the sickness itself, but just this period of rest, because sickness pulls you back, it slows you down, makes you go slow and rest. That slowness and that period of illness, slowdown, is for you to focus on whatever that thing was before you got sick. Feeling down in the heart, do heart chakra work while you're sick then. If you maybe were overthinking, what helps with mind thoughts? I should actually link this. There's a mutual who I follow via social media who creates these herbal mixtures, each dedicated to its own thing by what I'm referencing now, so that her herbal medicines, they're not the kind of thing to target just the symptoms. It gets to the root, like what I'm trying to describe now. Her medicines do that. I will find her link and everything and post it in the description of this video as well. I highly recommend as well trying to learn how to follow that path. Obviously, don't detach entirely from Big Pharma and then lead fully into nature. Like, that switch is definitely going to affect your energetic body, and it's I wouldn't recommend anyone do that at all. I think that kind of spiritual switch is very heavy. But if it's something you've been leaning into, then I think now is the perfect time to do it, to practice and play with certain plants and medicines, vegetables and stuff. I've built a very solid relationship this year with lemon. Surprisingly, a very available and simple medicine that you see a lot of people recommend for detox purposes, skin, whatever. And that stuff, lemon is genuinely magical. and it's genuinely kept me afloat. And anytime I've ever found myself ill this year was because 2 days before I hadn't put lemon in my water. Well, except recently, but that's a different story. Anyway, lemon helped me heal from that too. Shout out lemon. Watch out for your illnesses. Watch out for as well going out in the places that you be particular about where you decide to be present in your energy, even in conversations. If you find yourself out and finding yourself in a cross between conversations, be very intentional about choosing which conversation you tune into. At every moment, it feels like your energy is valuable to the conversations you need to be in, but also the conversations you have are going to be, that's how the universe will communicate with you. You may have very energetic, exciting conversations with people. That'll be what you need to hear or have a conversation about at that time, you know? Symbols everywhere. Don't doubt the way that your universe can speak to you and let you know things, especially during the season of discernment. Still in it, still finding myself in this really weird confusional bubble where as much as I really, really want clarity, the only way that I can walk through that door of clarity is by calming the fuck down and accepting there are some things that I don't know and moving from that. That has been very difficult for me this season, very, very annoying. And I imagine that lack of control, like I'd said, I think last reading, is the place that we're all operating from right now. We all feel an extreme loss of control in some area of our lives and we're acting out. And that is why it's important to find the bliss within. Because that blissful center will be able to remind you that everything is okay and that you don't have to do a single thing. You don't have to work a single shift decibel. You don't have to work a single unit up from what makes you feel overexhausted, what makes you feel disempowered, what makes you feel tired. You are allowed to be comfortable right now is what I'm trying to say. You are allowed that space. The universe is definitely going to come in and swoop with its own methods of making you uncomfortable, but you can stay there, you know, in comfort, kind of wait for the universe to like flick you over the cliff, because it will. It will. Lots of fated events are happening right now that you can surrender to, that you're allowed to be still with and say, you know, whatever's happening, let it happen. I will react and move from a place I choose after the debris falls. You're allowed to do anything you want right now. And hopefully that anything you want is always connected to a center within you that is linked to your truth, whatever that is, regardless of love or fear, as long as you are being true to yourself from whatever place you are ideally true from, obviously. And I hope that we can remember that. I think it's going to become increasingly important to be as true to yourself and to be your most authentic self as possible. And know that anytime you are off kilter, the universe will give you immediate feedback, first through your body. And if that doesn't work, if you don't hear that, then through your external world, through you tripping and falling, through your jacket getting caught. I've been finding a lot of moments where when I'm having backwards negative thoughts and assumptions, because I'm a very distrusting person, I immediately assume the worst of people. The minute I do that and I start circling in my mind about some assumption I've made because of some worst whatever thing that I've done, you know, I immediately get a toe stub, my hand gets hit, I knock my head on a cupboard. It's normally very painful, actually. And I always react like, okay, you don't have to hurt me. But no, they do. My angels, my God, they know they have to hurt me like that because the way that I get wrapped up in my shit is crazy. And the way that now, this time that we're in, the way everything is so fast, that pace of fastness and intensity can have you, like in a moment, you're saying, yeah, no, I'm going to choose love and light. A second goes by and suddenly you find yourself in a fear mode, in darkness, in your shadow. You're miserable, depressed, you know? That's how quickly it's all happening. That's how much intensity is in the air. That's how volatile we are as individuals. So you can only imagine the kind of volatility and shake it's causing collectively. Yesterday I was tapping in. There's so much to say now that I'm like in it. Yesterday I was tapping into a reading that I did a few months ago at the beginning of the winter solstice, where I spoke about the energy of what's happening right now and how how I'm noticing I've been yapping for 25 minutes. How the shifts that are happening right now are causing a ripple effect change in the collective energy grid of the world, and how that shift and lack of everything, because everything's shaking so much, nothing's grounded, everything's moving, changing form. There's so many collisions and things happening. I've lost my train of thought as to why I mentioned that. But that links to the volatility, generally, the volatility of the way everything feels right now, of the way people are, the way we are collectively, and of the things that are happening to each of us on individual levels, to our bodies, the way our bodies are reacting, volatility everywhere. That's why protection spells are important, protection prayer, ritual, whatever it is that you do. I'm mentioning this again. I have a glass of water that I put by the door of my home that I change regularly. I've been feeling called to change it a lot more regularly now during this past month than I have the whole year, which I think says something of the vibe. And or at least the way I'm perceiving it. And I also put a bowl of lemon and salt outside the door. And I have started using a bowl of water for bedtime as well, which has been very helpful in terms of the way I feel when I wake up. It's also helped me remember dreams. And my dreaming has been interesting. I think everybody's dreaming has been interesting this season. I think it's going to get more and more interesting with all the transits that are coming up next year. I'm feeling into how they're very tropical Pisces, Neptune based. I think our subconscious, because of the way we are all shifting subconsciously, it's naturally going to change all those levels of our lives, our dreaming, our thinking, our feeling, our ability to connect with the people that we are supposed to connect with, the people we vibrate very naturally with versus constantly accumulating like enemies and people who you don't gel with. Lots of divine union. Divine union season is definitely still coming. I'm seeing a lot of rhetoric on the streets about how people are not believing. And I find it funny every time I see somebody comment on it saying, today I saw someone asking, so are we really going to get married with the way the dating scene's going on? Yes. Okay. We firstly just need to take a few steps back and just stay looking at ourselves for a second. What do you think marriage is? Do you understand what it is that you expect of a marriage? Do you understand what your role is, what you expect your partner's role to be? Do you have all those details intact? You know what I mean? There are the finer details is what we're working on right now. And that takes a lot of time because it's very fine detail. So don't let the time discourage you. Don't let how slow and how crazy everything is feeling right now discourage you from what is to come. And anyway, what's yours is yours. What you've asked for is what you've asked for. You know what it is that you've been praying on, working on internally, how it's going to reflect in your external world. You know what you want by now. I'm pretty sure that I'm reading for somebody and for groups of people who know exactly what they want. So just keep focused on that. And yeah, I keep saying it every time, keep being very ready to be surprised because it's going to be very surprising for a lot of us. I'm going to pull cards now to see what comes up from into the week that follows from whenever you watch this. That's all, yeah. It feels like when I speak and when I'm yapping like this and like channeling, it's like when I have those moments of pauses of trying to decide whether or not I'm done, it's like I'm wringing out the cloth and draining it of water. So that's how it's feeling, just for context, in case you're ever curious. We have the Seven of Swords. The finer details. The finer details, essentially. This card speaks of working through a psychological puzzle and kind of, I suppose, laying out. Oh, and I have a quote that I would have loved to read had I brought my phone with me, but it speaks of the fact that when you are analyzing your bad behaviors, it's better for you to get to the root of it, as I'd mentioned now with the feeling of sickness, versus bullying yourself essentially to drop the habit until you eventually do. It feels like we've been going a little bit through some kind of like bullying season with our own selves because of how long we perceive things have been taking to manifest our dreams and stuff. So that this period of pause, it's been a lot of us realizing, I'll speak for myself rather. I've spent the season unpacking very detailed, dark things about myself that I wasn't aware of before, that I didn't even know were darkness. I didn't even know it was dark there. I thought it was just the way that I am, but after careful inspection, I've seen how many parts of myself are still so rooted in a lack mentality and lack behavior. Hey, Nokwanda. So I think that's what we are facing through right now, getting to the root of, like I said, why it is that, what our intention is, where our awareness is, where our focus is, what we choose to do with all of those parts of ourselves, and how those choices have manifested in our lives so far. I feel a lot of us are also coming into realizing the extent of how much we are in control of our lives and how little control we have put over our lives. I actually had a conversation with someone yesterday about their experience of shifting from one position. This is very separate and changing. Nokwanda love, I'm not doing, this isn't one of those individual readings. If you want to, you can DM me via socials and then I can give you, we can discuss from there, but this is a collective reading. She was talking about the experience of moving from a subordinate position to like a managerial position and how different people treat you in that shift, and how the programming of having worked in a subordinate position leaves her kind of confused in a position of managerialness because of how much time she has to herself, because of how no one's trying to micromanage her, because of how all of her projects, I beg your pardon, are under her control. She can choose what she wants to do. She can choose when she wants to do it. That sense of freedom is very jarring to her, and she doesn't really know what to do with it. It feels like that is a lot of what we will be experiencing once we experience our abundance. It's going to happen. It's going to be facing us front, and we're going to sit there on the brink of self-sabotage because we don't believe that the thing that we've been waiting so long for is right in front of us just to enjoy. This is the work that we are up to right now to make sure that when this blessing comes, when our dreams come manifest, they won't slip out of our hands. We won't mess up in our experiences of them, our perceptions of them. We're not going to self-sabotage. In order to make sure that all of that does not happen, we have to sit with who we are right now and with the truth of who we are, regardless of whether or not our dreams are in front of us, or regardless of what's happening. There's a sense of truth that has always been there, that's always ringing, that's basically trying to shine its way through, that we're looking directly at, but we seem still a bit confused regarding what it is that we're seeing. But this card speaks less of the sense of confusion and more of the very focused ability to work through it and to see it pragmatically instead of something overwhelming that stands ahead of you, that controls you and puppeteers you almost. We're looking at ourselves, at every part of ourselves, and seeing it for what it is. No, you don't have to be sorry. It's okay. I know I get a lot of people asking for individual readings on this. Please, when I say you can reach out to me, I mean it. I find that when I say it, it kind of feels like people don't take me seriously in that regard, or They think that I'm going to like immediately come up with a charge. I'm not always like that. So if you feel really, really like you need a reading, please feel free to reach out to me via socials and we can take it from there. I've been getting this card a lot too, the Five of Swords. However, yeah, okay, it fell upright. But I'm getting the possibility of it reversed, which speaks of an acceptance of the deep, dark fears that may come with doing this kind of inner work. And I also think that we've been in an acceptance phase for a while. It feels like we've been doing this and this and this and this over the past few weeks, especially since the door of the eclipse opened the beginning of this month. It's been a lot working through this shadow work, working through facing this demon and trying to understand who this figure is. Why aren't we brave enough to look up and see and look at this figure in the face? Is this even a person or is this us? Is this image even real? Why am I putting myself in this vulnerable position and not expecting help and not seeking help, knowing that that's what I need right now, you know? Why am I doing this alone? Why am I suffering alone or in silence or in isolation? Why am I doing that? That's a question I've been asking myself quite a bit, especially this whole year. It's felt like this the whole year for me. I think I've said this in another reading. There's been a position I'm in, and I've been sitting wondering in this crouched position, why am I not getting up? Why am I so afraid? You know, especially when in doing this, and I think this is what we do in terms of psychologically analyzing our own selves and behaviors. We're very accustomed to this feeling of self-awareness, self-accountability, going through, being pragmatic about facing ourselves. Being in this position almost constantly leaves you with a sense of why is this still happening? Why are these cycles still repeating themselves, you know? And I said in the last reading, try to forgive yourself through everything. Know that the best part about you, the most perfect part about you is the fact that you are not perfect. That is something we need to really ride home and be shameless about so that we can release the shame for good. You're not perfect, and that's great. Thank God you're not expected to be a direct image of God and be perfect and forgiving and always pause and never have a bad day and always be nice and patient to every fucking body. No. We're hanging up that empath mask, by the way. Nobody wants to be that empathetic. Without boundaries, please be aware of that. That's the kind of thing that can put you in this crouched position as well. When you're too empathic and you have no emotional boundaries and you feel like everybody's trying to take advantage of you and everybody is trying to steal from you or nobody's actually there to help you, you're always on your own, you know, stuff like that. It's played out. It's really, really played out. If you don't know how to show up for yourself by now, yeah. But you'll get there. I think everybody, victimhood, you know, we'll get out of it. It's like yeah, you'll get out of it. If you are in that place or you see someone you love being in that place, trust it's not a forever thing. Of course. I also got this in the, I think it was in the previous reading or the reading before this. This has also been a very common card. These two in particular have been repeating cards for me on personal and collective levels. It's a constant messaging of the universe putting its hand out to you, saying, you are so much more looked after than you think. Why aren't you trusting me? What is there still left for me to prove to you? I will prove it. I'm kind and benevolent. I am all-seeing, all-knowing. I can prove anything to you, and I'm more than happy to do that if it means you will feel secure with me. But what more can I do after everything I've already done? And in the deck, I'm seeing the Four of Cups, which speaks of a sense of, to me, speaks, it always reminds me of needing to find a sense of gratitude because of how dissatisfied this figure is with constantly staring only at the spilled cup. Kanti, there's a whole waterfall of cups and a sky and a beautiful sunset or sunrise behind them. So with the invitation that may be showing to us, as I'd mentioned in the beginning of this reading, what could be very helpful, what has helped me very much, and I've repeated this before, is the action of placing your hand over your heart and doing this for real, right? This may sound very, what is putting your hand over your heart? What difference is that going to make? A huge one, trust me. You put your hand over your heart, okay? You put yourself in front of your candle or even in front of your mirror. That helps too, for the sake of connecting with your own intention, looking at your own self in the eye as you say these words of gratitude to either yourself or to some aspect of your life that you know you will feel the gratitude of, like your own health, the health of your loved ones, the presence of people who love you, being loved in general, having access to resources that can give you access to the internet, okay? That is I know it's a standard thing, but the internet is a privileged experience right now, living in a sovereign way. Oh, God bless all the countries that are going under oppression right now. Living in a sovereign state is huge right now. That you can go out and buy your things and come back and you can connect to whatever site you want and watch whatever. It's a human right, but because the state of the world in general, you can be grateful for anything is my point. Hand over heart, feeling it. You understand? We have to fight these feelings. This is also reading to me as a state of like apathy. And that is also, I think, a very present theme in today's society, in the collective right now. It's reasonable as well to feel apathetic during these times. But anyway, constant invitation to get out of it by remembering how loved you are and testing it out. Again, there also feels to be this invitation of like, I can prove to you that you're safe and that you're protected. I can prove to you that I'm here with you. This is God or your universe, whoever you believe in. Very readily willing to do anything genuinely to show you that they're there for you. But you're not holding hope. You're barely even praying. You're not communicating with your people, with the people who are offering you this love. You're not speaking. You're not saying anything. You're just kind of sitting there, crouched over. You're just sitting there, This is me a lot, by the way. This is me a lot of the time in my life. This has been a very real, raw season of uncovering the frequency of how I hold victimhood and how it's really been self-inflicted and how it's time to get up. It's time to get up. I say myself to this almost every week. It's time to stand up. It's not like I don't have the energy, and it's not like I don't already know this. I get the feeling that I'm also reading for people who have had enough. You've seen miracles. You've seen them. You've heard of them. You've seen how people speak of a miracle they've experienced in their life. You've seen it in person, which, by the way, is a very underrated experience. Witnessing someone speak about a miracle, and you can see in real time the way that miracle was processed in their mind. You can see that they're not lying, That's love. That's an expression of love. That's an expression of the universe and God's hand reaching over to you. Even if you didn't experience it, they're reaching over to you to say it's possible for you, Something that that is a common thing for me in my stories that at first felt like a daunting, but now I understand it's just the universe just very lightly and gently saying to me, it's possible. I have met the children, and this is very personal for me. I've met the children of people in family dynamics where the mother was basically a housewife, home wife, in the sense that she was never expected to live her life in accordance to finding a way for the family to survive, finding monies. All she had to do was be the nurturing figure of her family, the nurturing, imaginative, fun, life is okay, guys, figure in their home. And yeah, I've been crossing paths for a few years now since feeling into the possibility that I'm a better homemaker, housewife figure than anything. And that's always been, I knew every single time, because these children are always, every time I come across them, they're so warm, they're so loving. I get along with them very, very well. They're so interesting. They're just the exact kind of person that I would want my children to be. It's hilarious, but how my universe works and how I know everybody else's universe works. Obviously, some people have a lot more direct universal communication. And you never know until you try. You may find that you are one of those people with whom God will communicate so directly to that a lot of what happens to you in your life is very in the moment, like Geminis and Aries, fire placements and air signs sometimes. A lot of their life circumstances are very impulsive, random. They have just all to describe the different relationships that each individual, not just star sign, each individual has between them and the universe. You have to play with that. You have to. It's getting so important for you to take that leap. Do the scary thing. Do the scary thing. Remember that you are loved through it. Send that scary message. It's funny because I have a scary message pending that I just, yeah. I'm seeing this card and this is the Three of Swords. I have a scary message that's going to make me feel like this if things don't go okay. And I can't be like this anymore, you know? So that kind of thing. Be fearless about it. Know that try to find the frequency with which you know you are loved through everything so that it doesn't affect your ego, your shame, your sense of abandonment, whatever. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of we are doing a lot of psychological, I don't know. The universe is it's like the God is putting us in therapy right now, essentially. Kind of like that. I'm going to trust the universe or something, especially if you've been in a position of not ever having it all last. Yeah, exactly. I totally understand. I totally relate to that. Oh my God. Thank you, Nokwanda, for that. That is so funny. I actually had that exact process this morning, specifically about a sense of nurture, because I think for me, that's the lesson that I'm trying to unpack right now. I can feel myself hardening through this. This year has been tough on me mentally, and I can feel the hardening that the toughness has done to me. And now it's trying to open me up again. And as per that comment that Nokwanda made, especially the part where you said where you're in a position of having had it a long time ago. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. I'm finding myself need to open up my heart and open up my beliefs, my sense of hope, my sense of delusion. I'm finding myself needing to reach that point of openness with the universe that I felt a very long time ago. I have been crouched in this position for years. I've been like this for years. And here the universe comes trying to be like, it's okay. Open up, trust, be vulnerable. Be vulnerable, be your authentic self, everything that I say. I know how hard it is to do. I totally understand how hard it is to do, and I understand why it's such these two cards together feel like a constant theme for us. Just always, there's a trigger. What is that trigger about? Why is that something I feel right now? Why does it feel so sensitive? Why is it by a tender place? Oh, cry. Oh my God, this hurts so bad. This is so sore. Wow. Oh, my childhood wounds. Oh, look at what I have to face about the lack of nurture that I've had in my life. This feels like this has been us for a very long time, y'all. When is it going to end? When is it going to end? When is our life going to reflect this state of nurture that we've been deserving all our lives? When? Soon. Soon is the answer. Very soon. Beneath the deck, we have the Queen of Discs, which has been a very common theme in the readings that I've been doing as well, and watching from other people. I don't think I know how to interpret the way that this shows up. But with these two together, the Queen of Discs and the Hermit, this speaks of somebody particularly in singlehood. Highly likely that you are in your singlehood era right now, and you are trying to open yourself up to new love, new connections, possibly even trying to build like a safer warmer sense of community for yourself, but you're finding that it's very difficult to do considering everything that you've been through. I actually feel like reading the Five of Swords interpretation. And then just so that you know, because this is lovely to share, we have the One of Cups and the Chariot. So we're definitely doing, we are going, it's coming. I keep saying it's coming. We're not doing this work for nothing. Not at all. Not at all. And it's been long enough, as Nokwanda's mentioned. Thank you again for that comment, by the way. It's been long, right? So long that we kind of almost don't believe it. But it's coming. This card speaks of a need to face the fear that governs your life, sometimes a need to accept a situation in humility and grace until it becomes possible to change circumstances, which is what I've mentioned about this card here regarding the experience I was having, about not having an answer to something and feeling out of control about it. Feelings of shame, resentment, anger, fatalism, oppression, perceived betrayal, sexual harassment, or domination. We're processing so much trauma that has possibly made us feel vulnerable and sensitive and upset and depressed and wada in ways that have made us feel small and scared and like we need our mommies, like we need a hug, like we need someone to tell us that it's going to be okay. I know I've needed that. Especially with these cards here. I'm getting the sense of somebody who has been doing a lot of work to keep it together. It's been really, really difficult, very lonely and very scary. And you've been doing a lot of very successful work, mind you, because the Queen of Dish, she's a gorgeous babe. Look at her, adorned, makeup done. She looks the fuck good. So shout out to you for keeping it together, for making it, for shout out for you being so hot. But genuinely though, I mean, I've been making sure that I keep up with my exercising habits especially, and I have noted that, things are taking shape. So it's kind of like that thing where it feels like what could be helpful during this time, what could help you stand up more, is by what I'd mentioned, giving yourself daps, hand over heart, in front of a mirror, saying things you are grateful for about yourself, and doing that daily. Seeing how that changes you and helps with this this hermit phase, this period of nurture seeking, because it feels like that's really mostly what we need right now. We just need a hug. We need a hug for someone to be soft with us, because it's just been too rough, too hard, too scary, too lonely. Things come to a clear. And I know I've said this for many, many readings now. Things are always all is well. I just really, I can't read on how long these things are going to take. I can't speak on Father Time. But I can say that with the presence of these cards, the presence of the sensation, if you do the work to actually uncover things about yourself, you actually do that work, you will feel the sensation. You will feel at the very least, you will feel the internal shift within you. We also have, beneath the Chariot, we also had the One of Discs and the Two of Rods. Imagine that. Oh my God, this is exactly similar to a reading and the Knight of Cups and the Five. Actually, there's a reading that Queen Cup did yesterday. All of these cards. Yeah, she also got the Queen of Discs, the Five of Rods, the Knight of Cups. She also got aces. She got the Emperor, and I'm here with the Empress. Yeah, I think that there are lots of synchronicities that are going to surprise a lot of people. And she also speaks on this frequency too. People are going to be very surprised by the fact that this actually works. Going within, doing the work, being studious about your rituals, praying. All of that stuff actually works, by the way. The universe is alive, by the way. The universe loves you, by the way. You're looked after, just by the way. By a benevolent force that can bring forth miracles. Miracles. Now I'm telling you this, I'm reminding you this, that this is possible, this is a thing. You live in a miraculous universe. I'm repeating this to my own self, but I'm still crouched. We're still crouched. Knowing how miraculous and loving this universe is to us, we're still crouched and scared and afraid. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I'm getting honestly irritated with myself that it's still something that I have to constantly remind myself. However, like I said, I'm feeling very much, and I've left the chariot behind. I was packing all the cards and left this behind. I'm feeling very much into how powerful my will is, how powerful the intention is, how possible it is to control my reality, work with my reality, and work with God. I'm really sensing into how true it's always been. I've said this, I know, many, many readings. I feel like I'm repeating myself now. But it's very there's so much to say. there's so much running through me right now. I'm trying to end with a final thing that's not too that doesn't sound too much like what I've already said, because I just want to emphasize the sense of exhaustion here. The sense of feeling like really almost a sense of overwhelm, but like I said, not so much. It's not as bad as it used to be. On a personal level, I've been experiencing bouts of depression, the usual, but like I said, it feels very different now, where I'm able to really understand where each thing comes from, understand what I can and can't release, which parts of my emotional centers are out of my control, moments when I really have to give in to the feelings of depression and just let it happen and allow my subconscious to uncover things to me. I've become really patient with the grandness of my connection with the nurturing universe, with the loving God, and it's been very helpful for me to at least have hope that the work I'm doing is not in vain. The work you're doing is not in vain. Yes. I'm also getting, it's also really nagging the frequency of Jesus Christ. It's very Jesus coded to me, considering his whole journey. And I've also been playing around with that. So if that's something, again, mentioned in previous readings, that's something you've been thinking about, consider it. Consider building a kind of working relationship with Jesus Christ in whatever way you want to start it. Don't do what you see works. I always lean on a candle, lighting a candle, putting it on the floor and speaking to the entity or deity that you wish to connect with, and then letting that seep in overnight. So doing it before bed and then letting it seep into your dreams, into your psyche, letting that work do its thing. There are so many possibilities, so many things to do, deities to connect to, because of how thin the veil is. How thin the veil is. I suggest you also be very careful about that kind of thing. Please always, always protect yourself. Please stay protected and keep your family protected too, your home, your communities. Somebody has to be doing the work, Somebody has to be praying. Every circle needs a prayer. Everybody needs a praying person. And keep believing in that as well. Keep believing in your power, keep believing in your energetic influence over your reality and over the reality of the people that you love. Please know that it's real, and it's only going to get real over time. You'll see. And pay attention. You'll see. Keep seeing and looking and recognizing and, being yourself. Keep being yourself. And thank you. And thank you always. I really want to encourage people to stay in touch with. I feel bad when I'm not able to offer readings, but I do have to stay strict about that offering, particularly because I've already done it. I've already had my run with giving free readings and stuff and how that works. And while it is that I'm not always switched off by that, I'm not that realm of giving free readings isn't totally gone. I do rather work with sincerity and like energy. If you reach out to me, depending on how you do it, I'm I might just give you a free reading, who knows? But I'm really working on sincerity and energy right now, instead of just giving and saying, here's a free reading, here's a free reading, here's a free reading. I also think, as an extension of what I mentioned before, it's a very sensitive time right now. Energetically, it's so chaotic. You may pull cards and receive a reading for one choice, for one predestined reality that you're tapped into in the moment that you are asking for the reading. With how tense and crazy everything is right now, that predestined choice that you felt into, that you were so sure about during the reading, you may have a complete 180 flip on the way that you feel that will change the destiny that you choose. That would obviously have affected the cards that fell out in the moment that you read the reading. So that if you go to that same tarot reader and ask again, or if you pull cards again, the cards change. That's how changeable everything is right now. I really hope we can all really grasp at least that, if nothing else. Please understand how crazy everything is. And please, from that place, be gentle and as compassionate as you can with yourself as possible. And that's really all that needs to happen. That's all that needs to happen. It made me apprehensive, as I said last reading, about pulling cards and stuff, but I love doing this and tuning into these weeklies. I apologize for not doing my bit for the tarot and chill this afternoon. I just, like I said, crazy times. And I'm trying to really move slow, and with that compassion, trying to apply it to myself and move as slow as I possibly can. And I'm already a very slow gal. So anyway, it's a really long reading. I didn't expect it. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next live stream. And please continue to hold tight. Yeah, actually, that's it. Please continue to hold tight. It's about to be a movie in a good way. Don't be afraid of anything. And know that you're always protected. Even if you don't, I'd mention this on social media as well. Even if you don't do the act of praying or any ritual, your belief in the fact that you are protected, your belief in inner knowing and tapping into that inner knowing is enough. Let's keep going.